Welcome to Date Night with the Dialogue Wheel, starring Chachi Bobinks.
God damn it!
Tyler.
I just have this face, it's not my fault.
And Evan.
But I'm Andrew.
Enjoy the show.
Alright, welcome to Date Night with the Dialogue Wheel. I am your... God damn it! Why did you have to do that, Tyler?
I just went, I don't give it so weird about that.
Because it looked like your face.
I just have this face, it's not my fault.
Minimize Skype. Just pull up your intro notes and go.
We need to do a running count on how many times I could not pronounce the word host. Because that's where I always hang up. Remember when I was like
holster?
toast and choast?
I'm your
coast?
holster with the molster.
But for some reason I always want to say humble host, even though that kills me every time. Okay.
Maybe take humble out of it.
No, I am
because you're not humble.
I am humble.
You should be very proud of yourself.
I am your headstrong and dashing host, Chachi Bobinks, and I don't take crap from any of you anymore. The three snaps
I
are
want
very
him
important.
to be my intro. Do you think people would buy that he was me? I think we've tried that before and they figured it out. They're really smart, these listeners.
Yeah.
I don't get it. My impression work is fantastic. Oh god, I killed her. Fuck. For real this time.
Fuck. Remember last year around the same time I had the same problems and I had an asthma attack like every show? Can we not do that again? Do you remember that? Like we just stopped the shows because my asthma got so bad and I would just choke.
Why are we laughing at this?
I don't know, like fond memories of me nearly
Remember
dying.
how I almost died like always before? Good times.
I had to hit the
I'm not
inhaler like
laughing
14
at
times
any
and
of
use
this
a
because
nebulizer
I'm just
after.
thinking of all the extra editing that's going to go.
Oh
with this
god,
podcast.
that's right, Andrew. Okay.
Or we keep it all in.
Yeah. Fuck the system, man. All right, let me try this again, all right?
Working with professionals.
What gave you that impression?
I know, just because
What
we've done
podcast
this
have you
almost
been
50
on?
times.
Clearly
Well,
not
Evan's
this one.
voice is really misleading, apparently.
Obviously.
It's that
Very,
deep,
very
commanding
misleading.
baritone.
It gives us this air of knowledge. It's bizarre. I don't know how that ever happened. I'm so sorry we misled you. Okay, let me try this again, all right? All right. Tyler, I'm putting the box... No, it's showing that you're the one talking. What the fuck? I can't win.
Just double click on me and it'll make me a bigger face on your screen.
Okay.
Hey.
So, okay, sorry, I'm good. All right. It's really awkward for him when mommy and daddy flirt. All right.
I am literally flirting with my girlfriend over text right now. I think I'll live.
What?
I sent
Oh
her
my
a heart,
God.
a Moe Island, Easter Island head, and then another heart.
Uh-huh.
Flirt game strong.
No eggplants.
No
Aw,
eggplant. What? What does
how
that
lewd.
mean? What does eggplant mean? I'm confused.
He's being
Is that,
phallic.
is that dirty? What?
Thanks a lot,
Eggplants are dirty
Freud.
now? Huh?
In emojis, yes, they are a very phallic symbol.
I didn't even know that there were eggplants in emojis. I'm so confused right now. Don't send me an eggplant, though, to show me. I'm better off never seeing this.
I
Okay.
believe the direction you're trying to go in is hello and welcome to Date Night with the Dialogue Wheel. I'm your humble ghost, Haunty Bobinks, and welcome to Oktobercast.
I like
That's good.
that.
Let's just go with that.
Let's just go with that. All right.
Yeah.
The Dialogue Wheel is brought to you by Loudly Spoken Entertainment and viewers like you, specifically our Patreon donors, Greg, Danielle, Rich, and Sam. Those people are awesome, and you can be awesome too. Either visit our Podbean page where you can directly donate, or go to patreon.com/the Dialogue Wheel. So, that said, tonight we have a very awesome cast. Obviously, you can tell that Tyler is here.
Oh, am I? No one told me.
Oh, well, this is when it gets awkward. And also, Evan's off, like, not being here right now. So instead, we have Andrew.
Yes, because somebody has to fill in the sexy voice department.
You fit perfectly.
But because me filling 2 roles in one cast was a little too much, we also have Andrew here for moral support.
Oh.
Let me adjust my glasses here.
I see what
nose
you did
is
there.
so
That's your
itchy.
middle finger. That's a cursing gesture in many Western cultures. Ah.
Andrew has that like sexy Canadian thing going on though. You know what he said to me the other day, Tyler?
Something in French, because that's the only sexy thing Canadians can do?
No, he said A, and I like my toes curled. It was beautiful. He did a Canadian accent. You wouldn't think, like, he did an impression of a Canadian.
The
And
ends
since he
even
is
gross in
Canadian,
their
you would think
regards,
that
eh?
would be like that. Yeah, it was beautiful though. Don't do it, Andrew. I don't need the listeners to know what you hide inside your
Did it
heart
make you
or
want him to
something.
become a Mountie?
Well, and also I should hold back as much of my Canadian accent as possible since this is primarily listened to in America, and we wouldn't want them to think that I'm some kind of socialist pinko commie.
Like me.
Actually, I will have you know, Andrew, that most of our listeners are in the US, yes, but we also have that 3% of our listeners that are in Sweden. And I think our Swedish listeners would appreciate whatever it is you just said, because I didn't.
They
catch it.
are democratic socialists.
There you go.
Yes, they are.
They would appreciate your Canadianness.
Oh, okay. Well, for that 3% of the Swedish audience.
Wait, 3%
Yeah,
of that
no, I got
3% is what you're saying?
Wait,
What about the rest of our
3%?
Swedish listeners?
That's not even a person.
Also, it's probably like one Swedish person listening, so that's 3% of one Swede.
That's true.
That's just a Swede.
So sorry, Swedish listeners. I think there's got to be more
Jeez,
than
Tyler,
that.
you're just such a hoser, eh?
Oh, you hear that? You hear that? We talked about Hoser
don't
because I thought that was
know.
a football team.
What voice I should go for from here
God damn
to
it.
counter yours? It's crazy. What direction can you go? I've been
You were
walking
literally
around
lying.
some ideas in my mind, but I can't pick one, So I'll just go with my natural voice.
That's a good idea.
Really? Your natural voice is Christopher Walken?
I don't know what you're referring to. I had no part in the death of Natalie Wood.
Oh, God damn it.
Too soon?
Oh, no, not at all.
So tonight on Date Night with the Dialogue Wheel, we're discussing...
Oh, a lot of stuff.
What again?
Well, we're going to talk about Binks at BioWare. So we were going to talk about BioWare. All right. So it was pretty cool. So I went to BioWare Austin, which is not as awesome as I imagine Edmonton would be. But that's only because Edmonton has Alan Shoemaker in it, and, we all, hero worship him, so...
Nice save there.
Eh.
I was afraid that was going to be kind of shade throwy at first, but no. That holds
Nope.
up. Alan Schumacher's pretty awesome.
That whole entire thing was just to compliment Alan Shoemaker once again.
Hey,
Because that's what we do here.
and 1 out of every 2 times we pronounce his name correctly, and I think we deserve points for that.
Correct! Yes! I think he appreciates that, even though he doesn't listen.
So is it Schumacher or Shoemaker?
Shoemaker.
Is it?
Shoemaker.
Make her
I know
what?
because
Okay.
he told me so. He makes shoes, okay? And video games.
Maker no.
Oh, God damn it! No! I'd pointed out to Andrew that it'd been quite a few episodes since the last time we got a Maker No out of you. And part of me wondered if that wasn't part of our problems with our Patreon. Maybe all those people stopped supporting us because you stopped saying Maker No. I hope you feel responsible.
That's why I made sure we got one out of it.
Thank you. We'll see. Now watch
You
it.
corrupt
we'll air
corporate
this,
slime ball. I'm being manipulated by the machine, man.
We'll air this on Saturday, and then suddenly Monday morning, we're going to have 25 people donating money to the podcast, and they'll be like, you were right.
And all of the
He's holding
comments
out on
will
us
say,
to be called
make a no amount of money would be
Make
too
a-
much to support this podcast.
Exactly. Right, so BioWare. So I went to BioWare, and And okay, so there are a couple of things that you must know about BioWare, okay? Number one, we've heard many things about their coffee supply, correct? Like, right? Derek Collin, pretty legit on making sure we understand how serious coffee is at BioWare. In my trip around their building, which is not a massively large building, I saw like 5 Keurigs. Just saying. Like 5 Keurigs. Set up in stations. Huh?
No Tassimo?
No Tassimo. They are a Keurig company.
I like them more already.
I know. Like, just the sheer amount of coffee in that building is outstanding. I'm telling you. That's a good place to work, just based on the coffee. But it was awesome. It was really cool. Yeah, they were very nice, and that was cool. I found out that a lot of people who work there, like, again, like we've heard before, they started off doing things within fan communities and then moved their way into BioWare Austin. And we've heard a few people who started off like that, like at Edmonton, and I haven't heard of anyone who started off like that at Montreal. But like a good amount of them started off like making fan websites. Like I think Courtney Wood said that she ran a fan website for a dev, I don't think it was BioWare though, and wrote like fan fiction and stuff. And now she's a writer there. And Eric Musco, who is their community manager, like the lead of the community management, was a podcaster. And, you know, just like different things where they were already doing what they wanted to do just independently. And then somehow they got their dream job at BioWare. And that is super cool. That encourages me a lot to keep doing what we're doing and stuff because it's kind of my goal. So, yeah, it was neat. But they were all very nice, and I have 2 interviews that I'm hoping will go out next week. I think I did us proud. I didn't like try to be a butthead or anything, so I think I did a good job. I was nice to them. I didn't call anyone names, and I didn't pull anyone's hair, so
that's important.
Yeah.
Physical violence during interviews typically don't get you invited back. And we managed to get one of them to join Twitter, who had not even been on Twitter before.
Hey!
Ooh,
yeah, I know,
who's
right?
Who's on Twitter now?
Jordan Koch, I think is how you pronounce his last name. Koch.
Yep, Koch.
Koch, yeah. Him. He was not on Twitter, and now he is.
And what is his Twitter handle so all of our listeners can go follow him?
Oh, yeah. Let me look it up really fast. Hold on.
All right.
It's okay. I'm going to look it up. And he was very cool. He, like... Apparently, he was talking about this, like, in our show that he, gets hoodies for whatever game he's working on, and then he wears that the whole time he's working on the thing. So he came out wearing his Dragon Age Inquisitors hoodie thing, because we were talking about the Descent, DLC. And I was like, can I see your current hoodie? And he's like, no. Damn it. Should be like some awesome...
That must get kind of smelly after a while.
I know, right?
That was honestly my first thought. He wears it the entire time? Like, does he take it off?
I'm sure he washes it, guys. Like, on the weekends, all right? Oh, my God.
I'm horrible. What can I say?
You
That
are.
you're horrible.
Okay, it is Mumble_Shout. That is his name. At Mumble_Shout.
All right. I'm going to go follow him right now.
Same.
And he has a corgi, according to his timeline, right now. Oh my God, he just got 10 times cooler to me. So I'm tweeting him right now the words, oh my gosh, because he has a corgi. I just need corgis in my life. Anyway. So.
Level designer.
That was that. Huh?
I said a level
What'd you
designer. Interesting.
Yes, he's a level designer. Yeah. So on that note, I think sometime next week we're going to start streaming my playthrough of The Descent. I'm going to do it on Twitch. Probably have Andrew help me because he's a lot of fun to play games with, honestly.
Which is strange for her to say because when she played Trespasser, I did nothing but troll her the entire time.
That's very true. He was a big, ugly, mean troll the whole time, but it was.
I'm getting spoiled by YouTube for Trespasser now.
What?
It'll be like, hey, recommended videos, the end of the Cullen romance for Inquisition. Watch it.
And then
I'm
you
like,
see a picture of it and you know what happens. Yeah. I have stopped looking at my recommended page when I go on YouTube. I just go straight to my channel, or to our channel, I guess, more appropriately.
I mean, what I just
Because
said
it's
wasn't
doing
even
that
what the
too.
title of the video was, because I was being more polite than the uploader of the video, which just straight up says what the scene is and what is going on in it.
Exactly. Yeah, I was pretty pissed right before I started playing Trespasser. The day it came out, this one person who is very well known for getting videos out very fast had already done all the endings and had all of them up with pictures of the endings titled
I know
by
who
what
you're talking
happened in
about.
the end. Yeah.
I think it's the same person. Uploads
Probably.
in HD, 3 separate names that are
Correct.
all nouns.
Uh-huh. That's correct, yes.
I got you.
That is correct. That would be the one. So they even scrolled it for me all of 8 hours into it being released, and I was pretty pissed. Especially since what they described in all the ones I accidentally saw, that wasn't what happened in mine. So I'm like,
Well, that's good then, at least. If you like, that's almost better if you're like pointed towards a certain ending, and then it's like, oh no, plot twist, all of reality just changed to confuse you. But imagine
Well,
if
it's
that had been what you saw.
yeah. Well, it set my expectation for what I thought would happen at the end of my game
Ooh,
based
right.
on,
Yeah.
right? And so then I was kind of excited thinking, oh, this would be a great thing to happen. Oh my God. And then it didn't.
So I have an interesting anecdote related
What?
to this. So I was but a lad of 10 when Star Wars Episode 3 came out, right? But you may recall that a script of Episode 3 leaked prior to the actual
Right.
film coming out. My stepbrother got a hold of this. And
Oh, great.
we started reading through it, and after like about the first page or so, I stopped. He read the entire thing. But we were certain that it couldn't be real, right? Because, like, okay, Count Dooku says, "Your swords, please." No one ever calls them swords. Yeah, it's probably fake. The entire script was real. So my stepbrother, at 10, watched the last, as far as we knew, ever to be released Star Wars movie without a single surprise or plot twist in it for him at all, because he had just read the entire script. This was a boy of 10 excited to see a Star Wars movie. It was
Yeah.
kind of earth-shattering.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah,
Well,
spoilers.
hopefully he learned a
can do it.
valuable lesson about spoilers and isn't
Yeah.
going looking for anything about episode 7.
It is so hard to not look about things for episode 7, though.
No, it's not.
I know.
I don't.
Maybe for
I'm not,
you,
like,
geezer, but for people of my
listen,
generation,
I have got to be one of the largest Star Wars fans out there.
fight me.
I mean, I write I write articles about the generational importance. I've watched almost every documentary that's ever come out about Star Wars. I can even give you reasons why the prequels were good
Oh, you
What?
monster.
from an academic standpoint.
I'm sorry,
Okay, we're
Andrew. I
good.
need you to stop for a moment to go get your hipster frames
Wait.
because I feel
Oh,
like I'm
Andrew,
missing
ring
that.
cycle is the answer. Ring cycle.
Huh?
Oh.
Ring cycle? No.
Well, that's the scholarly reason that I've read for why the prequels are actually good. Is like
Oh.
the immense amount of parallelism.
I
Well,
thought you
there-
meant ring cycle is in when you choose the pattern in which your landline rings upon buying a new landline.
Wait, did
phone.
I call it the right thing? When I said
know.
ring
I don't
cycle,
know.
I may have accidentally made a reference to opera instead of what I was actually trying to
it's
talk
okay.
about.
But no, the reason behind it is, yes, part of it is the parallels between the two and how they're both very much heroes' journeys that take place but have dramatically different outcomes. Because hero journeys, as far as epic tales go, end one of three ways. The hero is successful and wins the day. The hero is successful but dies, makes the heroic sacrifice to save everyone. Or the hero falls from grace and ends up becoming the tyrant in his quest for power, and that's what we get in that one. And even the role of Jar Jar Binks is explained in the fact that he represents the jester in the epic tale, much like R2-D2 and C-3PO did in the first ones, only they did it much better, of course.
Hey, so I have a question for you.
Where's
Yeah,
your
if you-
where's your pumpkin spice? Damn it, I can't even talk. Where's your pumpkin spice latte, Andrew, and your hipster scarf?
If you, much like
I don't
myself,
own scarves.
are way too into Star Wars, who is the best expanded universe character as far as you are concerned? I mean, I know that none of that technically counts anymore. Exists. I know that has been wiped from our memories like a comics retcon, but
I really like Talon Card.
I was going to say Grand Admiral Thrawn, so the answers are not that different.
Yeah.
Although I am partial to Kyle Katarn.
He was good. Don't get me wrong. I did like Thrawn, but no, I really liked Talon Card. It was nice to have a smuggler that had a different kind of role than what we're used to. A crime boss with a different role than what we saw from Jabba the Hutt and Han Solo.
I loved him when I read those books, and then I had him ruined for me recently because someone was talking about, hey, so isn't it funny how obvious it was that Talon Card was just like that author's self-insert for Star Wars? And I was like, no, man.
Could have been. But back to the Descent and your interviews.
Oh, yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, we were talking about something relevant. I don't know. But, no, I was just going to say, I'm going to play Descent next week. And then hopefully, like, later on that week, we'll have the interviews out. So, yeah, it'll be great. It was a good, fun time. So glad I got to go. So, next subject I wanted to talk about, though. Well, you'll hear more about the BioWare thing later. But, so, Penny Arcade. You know, yeah. I try so hard to not hate Penny Arcade. I really do.
I don't know why I ever tried.
Well, the reason why we try is because PAX is so good.
Yeah.
And we all love PAX and what it does and how it represents gaming.
Uh-huh.
The problem is Penny Arcade and the people behind Penny Arcade don't really do that the way we would like them to. They're very much behind where the people who go to PAX are as far as awareness and consciousness of what's going on in the world around them. Specifically the world that they represent as Penny Arcade.
Exactly.
So rather than trying to be supportive, they end up just making extra noise in the wrong direction. And it's difficult because it ends up, because as much as we all love PAX and we all love the community that we've met at PAX, well, you specifically, I've never gone to PAX. I don't know if Tyler has or not, but
no.
You know, the communities that I've seen grow out of PAX.
Yeah.
It's difficult to want to go there and support it because of how problematic Penny Arcade is.
It's kind of like, I think I'm just going to start thinking of Penny Arcade and PAX as like brothers, right? And like PAX is somehow the older brother who's like in college and like he's kind of got his life a little bit more figured out. Maybe he's like a junior and starting to work on like really important stuff. And Penny Arcade is like his annoying little 12-year-old brother, right? Who is there and
at the
relevant.
Words boobs.
Yeah, exactly. Who is there and relevant, but still makes poop jokes and laughs at the word boob. That's kind of what I think. That's how I'm gonna liken those. And Pax is like, chill, look, you know, we're family and stuff, right? But maybe you need to kind of step it up. And Penny Arcade is like, poop. He, you know? Like,
I think what bothers me is that, technically speaking, sometimes it seems like PAX is more the angsty, actually properly aware son of Penny Arcade, who is like the old last generation fist shaking at Sky dad.
Uh-huh.
And
maybe Penny Arcade's like the tea partier.
Penny Arcade strikes, I think I like the old dad analogy just because they are very much representing like the last old guard of what gaming used to be, which is, well, the jokes should be dumb and lewd and violent and weird, and the only commentary on social issues should be about how tech is really good and important and people who don't get it are bad, and the only commentary should be about what brands are good and what brands are bad. Like, they represent the last generation of what gaming could be about, and they don't want to change. And my biggest concern is that even if PAX has evolved beyond them, it is still integrally and inherently a part of them. Like, they still profit from it. It still gets to be a platform for them, and they still get to drive the bus, essentially.
Yeah.
And so it raises a lot of questions for me that I'm not sure I know the answers to. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because I don't want to be supporting them. And I think the sad part is, even if people did decide it was problematic, there's so much economic pressure, for example, not to leave PAX, because PAX essentially controls the industry now. Like, so much of PR goes through PAX. Almost more than E3 now, it's becoming where you show your game off.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the big announcements still happen at E3, but PAX, because there's so many, you've got East and Prime and Australia and now South, PAX is becoming the place where if you've got something that's not quite ready for E3, it's like, that's okay. PAX is like 4 months away, or PAX East is 6 months away. So we've still got an opportunity to polish this up and get it out at an event that's going to help us make noise.
And E3 is still very much an industry event, whereas
yeah.
PAX is fans and fans. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. E3 is an industry event. I mean, you admitted to E3 just on a fan pass the way you used to. Like, I remember stories back 6-7 years ago. I think even like Jessica Chobot, when she was working for EB Games, used her EB Games ID to get press passes to go to E3. You can't do that anymore. You want to get a press pass to E3, you need to be a massive website with a huge number of people hitting on you or whatever.
Hitting on you.
Not so much hitting on you. That's not
It's got to be sexual.
You know what? I'm not good with words, but you know what I mean. You
Clicking on
need to
you,
get
yeah,
a lot of
you
you need
can
to
do
get a
hits.
lot of hits, drive a lot of traffic, and have a decent ad base if you're going to be getting in. I mean, and it's the same, and that's becoming more and more the point, and the standard as more and more fan sites are going up on the web, and people are starting them to get press passes and access to events so that they don't have to pay money to get in.
Yeah.
And just from a developer standpoint, even, I'd have to imagine, well, actually, I can't even imagine just how much more affordable it is to go to a PAX that is relatively local than to try and become a part of E3, which is not just an industry event, but largely a mainstream industry event. So essentially, if you want to get the word out and you're not like one of the big developers, you kind of have to do PAX.
Chachi, how much did one of those booths that you were watching cost again?
Oh, God. Like, something, and mind you, these are not official numbers and whatever, it's what someone told me who used to do stuff a long time ago, but it was like $250,000 for a small one. Yeah, it's a lot of money. Like $1 million easy, like $500,000 for an 8x10. It's
I'd still have to imagine it's cheaper than E3, though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Significantly.
Yeah. It would definitely have to be.
And that's one of the reasons why, when people complain about the price of video games, I want to just slap them in the face and tell them to shut up, because video game pricing is so broken. It's so broken for what goes into a game.
Yeah. So I can't see people being able to feasibly say, we're done with Penny Arcade or whatever, but here's the interesting thing to me. I can't speak for like everyone who is in like the PAX crowd, because obviously it's a big mixture of a lot of different cultures, and that's what I like the most about it. But I do know that there is a very strong following of social justice warriors, so to say, who like PAX because PAX tends to be a little bit more knowledgeable and open and what have you. All but maybe one person I interact with or interacted with in the PAX circle were all just like-minded people, right? So Penny Arcade makes a comic literally making fun of its own supporters. Penny Arcade makes a comment making fun of the PAX crowd. And
that's just how out of touch they are with their own event and with their own industry, though.
And how important they think their little man opinions are, Like, we understand that we make money off of people who follow this exact line of thought.
And it's just another... it's just some more douchey frat guys. I don't actually mean frat guys, but it's just some more douchey bro dudes who don't understand what free speech actually means, who think they're like warriors for free speech. Like, but I can make a rape joke and no one can say anything about it because that's not... No. You can make a rape joke and not literally get arrested for it.
Yeah.
Your words are
That's
still
what free
going to
speech
have
means.
consequences.
Yes.
Yes, like people will think you're an asshole.
Right? And it's all
Because your speech doesn't override other human rights.
Exactly.
You profoundly stupid person.
And all because some third-party website that has absolutely nothing at all to do with Penny Arcade, that Penny Arcade probably doesn't even go to. Like, I doubt Gabe and Tycho are huge fans of that particular website. But all because this one other separate website that has nothing to do with them decided to take out their comics section. They're like, oh, let's just make fun of everybody.
Yeah, and
You know what? I kind of want to talk about that for a moment.
Yeah,
the
and-
whole...
closing a comment section is, in some cases, an act of self-care for people, because if you
Oh, yeah.
like just pick any YouTube video at all that has 100,000 views or more and read comments, and
There
it's
are things-
atrocious.
Rather don't.
It's atrocious, some of the things that you will see, most of which have nothing to do with the YouTube video. And just to be like, oh, hey, look at the, if there's a woman in it, oh, hey, look at the size of her, or how small those are.
Yeah,
Pick a thing,
exactly. It's super silly. It's...
or
This woman has an inch of cleavage in this video. Clearly, it was meant to garner attention.
Right.
And while it has garnered my attention, I hate it nonetheless.
yeah,
Yeah,
because women shouldn't have boobs.
clearly not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never understood that, but and sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes it's just people being ignorant and saying mean things to the content creator. Like everyone here knows who Jessica Negri is, I hope.
Yes.
Do not ever read her comment sections. They are
that
just
bad.
the most vile, horrible things you can ever possibly read, with every possible iteration of slut and sex worker that you could possibly imagine showing up in those comments. And I've never met her, but I've seen her interviews, and you watch her videos. She seems like a genuine fan who enjoys what she does, and if she's getting paid for it, that's her business, nobody else's. But comments, those boobs are this, or you are so fake, or and these are the nice ones, not like like the out and out rape comments.
Exactly. So shutting down a comment section is no big deal. And also, just for the sake of irony, you know who also doesn't have a comment section?
People.
Penny Arcade.
Didn't they just add one? I thought that they added one in response to that. Wasn't that the whole
Not
thing
that I
they did?
saw. Let me
I
look.
heard that their last
Show
update
comments. No,
just
there's
added
comments here now.
Now there is?
Yeah.
Okay.
They just added them
Really?
a week ago, and now they're making fun of other sites for not having comment sections.
Oh, but you have to sign
So
in.
they just got caught up. Yeah, they don't have Anon comments, I'm sure. Wow.
There is one good comment section on the internet, by the way, and that's at the AV Club.
Yeah.
Well,
I like the AV Club.
but you know
Yeah.
what? They monitor the shit out of those comments.
Yeah, they do. And they make sure people just don't get treated terribly.
Yeah.
They create and they nurture a culture of interested and funny discussion about pop culture. And when people are abusive or terrible, they take them down. And also, just without even moderation, a lot of the people who are in the community who post a lot will moderate to a certain extent just by shutting people like that down right away.
Yeah. But it's taken a long time to get to that point.
No doubt.
Not everybody has the time or the ability
Or the resources.
or the resources exactly to monitor their comment sections that strictly. I mean, even major news websites don't. I mean, the comment section,
God.
the comment section on
Literally any news site.
yeah, literally any website. But I mean, you take a look at the reporting of a major news story on, oh God, I can't even believe it. I mean, CNN. And you're going to run into, you roll down the comment sections, and it's going to be everything. It's going to run the gamut from nice and complimentary, to tinfoil hat conspiracies, to people commenting on, well, I said CNN, but I don't know any of the CNN female anchors' names. I just know Wolf Blitzers. So we'll use Wolf Blitzers. People commenting on Wolf Blitzer's legs,
Oh, that Wolf Blitzer and his calves. I just
Right?
find myself worked up into a tizzy every time.
Or they go to... and because sometimes I go there just to see what they're talking about and how horrible it is, the
know where
Fox
this is
News
going.
website...
Yep.
You go to the comment section on something that, say, Megyn Kelly has reported on, and it's all topics about her looks. That's all they're talking about, is how she looks and the things they want to do to her. Mm-hmm. And it's atrocious. I mean, that sort of shit should not belong on the internet, because that's not what the comment section is there for. So if you're shutting down the comment
we
section...
would hope, at least.
So if you no, that's not what comment sections are there for. Comment sections are there to discuss the topic that was the article. So I write my article on Can't Talk about the generational effects of Star Wars. And the nice thing is we do moderate our comments there very strictly. So if a comment pops up that is, I wonder how smooth his facial hair is, that's not going to go up. We're gonna crush that. But if it goes on and somebody actually has something intelligent to say, well, I kind of disagree with what you had to say about the prequels because of this, well, not only will that comment go up, I'll respond to it in a reasonable fashion because, well, I'm a reasonable person and I like discussing things like that.
By the way, I never apologized to you for making that comment about how smooth your facial hair was. So that was a joke, Shepard. Okay.
Chachi, listen.
What?
You've done a lot for me throughout our time knowing each other. You don't have to jump in front of the bus for me on this one. I can admit to my own mistakes. Andrew, I'm sorry I asked about how smooth your facial hair was. It's just I can't figure out what kind of conditioner to use, and you seem like a knowledgeable and worldly man, and just I look up to you.
Actually, you want to know what I use? I use the same conditioner that I use for my hair, I use on my beard.
He legitimately uses conditioner on his beard. Mm-hmm. That is so impressive to me because, you know what? Some people, I think... Can I just talk about beards for a second? Is this cool? Because
sure.
I need to. Okay.
Yeah.
How dare you go off topic, Chachi? There's no precedent for this.
Oh my God. I feel like sometimes people have beards just because of lack of care. And then there are people who have beards because they own that shit, right? Andrew is definitely a shit owner. Wait.
That was a long walk for that punchline, but it was worth it.
I know, right? Yes!
You do, though, for any listeners who would be helped out by this, do at least shampoo your beard.
Please.
Yeah.
That's
Please
important.
do. And maintain a little bit, because doesn't it get itchy if it grows up too high on your face and like down on your neck?
Mine grows on my cheeks and I'm fine.
Yeah, no, it all depends on
I have a super beard, though.
How you care for it. Like, if you keep it clean, it's going to get a little scratchy as it starts to, depending on how your hair curls and such. But, if you maintain it properly, you keep it a good length, it's never itchy.
Yeah.
Beard care on date
My beard
night
is
with
quite
the dialogue
cozy.
wheel.
Beard care on the dialogue wheel. Yes. Because we talk about all the really important things here.
Yeah. So what we were talking
I'm
about...
at that weird point now where...
Uh-huh.
I'm at that weird point now where on my end I started talking first. That's all I know. I don't know what kind of survey I'm experiencing. But on my end I started talking for like 5 seconds, and then Andrew was like, so the thing is... So... I'm at the weird point in my life now where people who have only known me in college tell me they literally cannot picture me without a beard, and tell me that when picturing me as a baby, they still picture the beard. Which is bizarre for me, having, been a child and / or not had facial hair at some point. Because I had no idea, honestly, how this whole beard situation went over to other people. I just kind of hoped that the reception was for the best. Turns out it's an integral part of my face at this point, and no one told me.
Yeah. When I shaved for my Chuck cosplay, people were like, dude, what happened?
Yeah, I've seen pictures. It was just alarming, I think. It was alarming, Andrew. I think you like Tyler, were made to carry beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like some sort of bizarre euphemism.
And yet you know it's not, because I'm the one who said it.
Like, instead of head, is beard the word now? Is that just the hipster version of, like, oral? Is that what the thing is?
Probably.
He carries
Probably.
good beard, if you know what I mean.
So
Kind of like Dorian carries good mustache.
So before we actually started recording, and I'm really sorry, listeners, that we did not start the way we had planned, Tyler was actually making some interesting points about traditional romances in Dragon Age.
I'm so laughing.
Shall I?
Yes, let's try to get back to on point so that Chachi can recover.
Okay.
So
Well-
you were talking about traditional heterosexual romances for male characters, and
I don't remember who it was. Someone on Twitter or in some sort of conversation. I'm really sorry that I don't remember the context. And if you either know who this was or it is you, then please, by all means, let us know in the comments of wherever you're listening to this and give credit. Someone was talking about, they were asking whether the like Blackwall tragic romance was something that we'd ever seen reflected in like the female romances of BioWare games. Like, is there ever a tragic female romance? You know, like a female character who's a tragic romance. And I was like, there's like 8 of those for the guys and none of them that are girls. That's weird now that I think about it.
Morrigan, maybe?
You could say Morrigan, but if you buy the DLC, then she lets you walk into her magic mirror with her forever and ever and be happy and have god babies. So
that is true.
And
so
that got me thinking about how, compared to the very non-traditional, I would say for straight males romances in general, but specifically all of the romanceable guys, especially, tend to be increasingly like non-traditional and interesting, and even Dragon Age Origins, which had Alistair, had Zevran, and even with Dragon Age 2, where you have Isabella, who seems to be a little more different. The idea of her romance is essentially that you eventually like settle her down and have like a more traditional romance. And so what I'd really, really like from BioWare, and this is not to say, by the way, if anyone is listening that actually is involved, that I'm trying to say, hey, I want you to prioritize making the straight romances more interesting, because I'm really glad that you do all that you do for other types of romances. I'd really like it, though, if the straight romances, specifically the straight romances that were female characters, were not quite always so straight-edged. Because, like, look at even, for example, Inquisition, which I don't think any of us could argue is the most diverse game they've put out so far, especially in this series.
Yeah.
Look at the 2 straight female options you have. Well, I say straight, I mean a straight male character can romance them. These characters are not necessarily straight.
Yeah.
You have Cassandra and you have Josephine. The entire point of Cassandra's romance is that she is, in fact, romantic. She wants to be traditionally romanced. That is the entire point of her romance, is you literally like go out and buy candles and poetry and flowers
Yeah.
and
just
then make
candles.
love under the stars.
the most romantic,
The best candles
candle.
in Thedas, yes, the most romantic candle in Thedas, this is true. And if you look at Josephine, not only is it largely traditional, it's been compared to like a Disney princess romance, and at one point you literally duel another man for her affections. And again, there's nothing wrong with either of these, but I would argue that for romanceable female characters that can be romanced as a guy, it is kind of the norm at this point for
Yeah.
the Dragon Age series and perhaps even BioWare. No, not BioWare in general, actually.
Yeah, no,
Because
it's
in
not
Mass Effect, for
funny,
example, you have like Jack, who is very much well, actually, now that I think about it, though, even Jack's romance quest kind of involves like, if you go the Paragon route, like settling her down and like making her more normal. I'd really like it if there was one of those no-win situation or kind of more heartbreaking romances, so that because BioWare has done very well at not making the romance is just your traditional wish fulfillment. And I find it
Yeah.
funny that the only place that doesn't quite hold up is with the more traditional romances, which you'd think that they, of all people, would want to go way out of their way to subvert.
So you would
I'd
like
really
to
like
have
if we saw that a bit more.
a soulless level tragic romance.
I would
The
love
lady
it.
character.
I would love to have my heart broken by a BioWare game because it seems really interesting and fun and emotionally impactful based
Yeah,
on
let me tell you.
all of my lady friends who are out there romancing characters, or even my male friends who play female characters. But just seems like a lot of people are having a lot of fun, or emotions at least, getting their hearts broken by BioWare characters. My turn.
Right? It is kind of an interesting thing though. You know, like to think that I don't know how to words. Like that's you normally see it the other way around. It's like all of our guys have got these screwed up romances, but in other games, when you do have a romantic interest, it always seems like it's the other way around. It's saving the lady because everything is so tragic. But instead, we're like, you know what? The lady romance is pretty damn good. You know, like, yeah, you do the settling down thing, which I always find to be problematic slightly, but not in the way that BioWare does it, mind you. But the concept of settling the lady down, I've never liked that. But yeah, it's kind of an interesting problem to have, where you're like, you have made this so different from everyone else that now I kind of miss that particular experience.
It's the one part of their romances that tends to be fairly traditional, and I wonder if that's because while the female gaming community tends to actually be open to new experiences,
Yeah.
bro gamers, if they didn't get the perfect settling down the lady romance ending,
They'd throw
would
fits.
would pitch a royal fit, light everything on fire, because that's what they're. Because honestly, what BioWare gives those romance options is what they're largely used to in gaming.
Yeah.
Is you get to just like settle down with the lady, and the point of the romance subplot is that it's there, and so the character because RPGs are traditionally wish fulfillment, and I like that
Yeah.
BioWare tends to avoid that, at least in some very crucial ways. It's not just a straight up power fantasy. Which there's been arguments that Inquisition is actually a bit more of a power fantasy, but even then I'd argue it's not that in a problematic way like it could be.
Yeah.
Because it's more about saving people than like vanquishing people.
I get you.
Unless you play as a
just wish
Dick Quisitor. Dick Quisitor is all about
Yeah.
power.
Yeah. But, and it's interesting to think that the only romances where you're romancing a male that do not end just horrifically tragically, like because of something that happens to them or that they do, there's like two of them, and one of them can possibly do that. So the Alistair romance,
Yeah.
there's a chance that it could end very beautifully and nice, but it's a very small chance. So even his has the potential to go way tragic. And the Garrus romance. But Garrus romance is way tragic because it ends with the one person he loved dying, you know? So
Yeah, actually, technically
in the end, it's
speaking,
pretty
any
tragic.
romance in Mass Effect is tragic by the end of the third game. But like I said, I feel like this is almost a problem that's to a certain extent specific to Dragon Age.
Yeah, yeah.
At
I
least
think
with the
Mass
level of
Effect's
conventionality, even if it does always kind of usually end with like the happy ending, which is still a problem.
Yeah, because if you look at like the romance that I like to use in Mass Effect is Liara. As like when I pull up an example, like you romance Liara. Liara is clearly in love with Shepard, whether you romance her or not. But it never
Yeah.
ends up defining her character. Even if you do end up getting involved with her, if you don't, it's more like hero worship kind of love.
Yeah.
than anything else. And the relationship that she has with Shepard and that Shepard has with her doesn't define their characteristics, doesn't define themselves to each other. It's like, we still have stuff to do. She's still very much independent as the Shadow Broker in ME2. And even after Lair of the Shadow Broker, she's still very independent. It's like, I'd love to come with you, but look at what I can do.
yeah.
You know?
And even when she does come along, she puts up the entire workstation in her room and never has time for you. Like,
Exactly.
you'll walk in and she'll be like, oh, hey, it's you. Yeah, I got the entire galaxy at my fingertips here, but it's cool that you wanted to kiss for a minute. Can you not? Christ.
Yeah,
Or whatever I
chat
believe
with,
in.
Go chat with Glyph at the upgrade terminal. I'm sure he's got something for you.
Have him put on the fancy bow tie. That always makes you giggle. That's
Yeah,
what
that
you're here
always
for,
works.
right?
Yeah. So, you know, that's about as untraditional and as well female empowering a romance as I think BioWare's ever done. because the relationship never defines her. I mean, even Josephine, I don't suppose it really defines her, but it's so Disney princess. Whoever coined that got it exactly right. And Cassandra is, the not so much like the swashbuckling romance thing, but it's like, do what you need to do to woo her, get the most romantic candle. I mean, it's not putting kindness coins in the slot until the romance scene comes out, but because you actually have to form approval based on your actions, but it still kind of falls into that.
I think it was well done, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah. But it still falls into that
I think
category
it was beautiful.
Yeah.
But
But it still falls into that category of nothing's ever going to go wrong. I mean, even if she becomes the divine, it's not the end of the world or the end of the romance.
Oh, I didn't know that, but now I'm happy.
Yeah. So there's lots of ways around things like that. But, it's one of those things where it would be nice to have, I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of tragic romances because I've been involved in too many in real life. That. It's like, I want so I enjoy the traditional style, but it would be nice to have that out there just as the option because, I'm not as invested in Dragon Age as maybe I was in Mass Effect just because of the timing of when they came out in my life. But, watching people get absolutely heartbroken over Solus or go through all these major feels romancing a drug addict in Cullen, even in or the Fenris romance, romancing the illiterate ex-slave elf. There's lots of real rewarding emotion that you get out of those romances that if you play as a straight male gamer, you're not going to get to experience.
Yeah.
Well, and at the end of the day, it's about diversity, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not about how, none of the romances should be happy. It's about how you have to present, well, not have to, but I feel like BioWare is invested in presenting a wide spectrum of realistic relationships for a wide variety of different types of people. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it would not be very fair or accurate to show that, like, all like straight relationships between a man and a woman, I guess where the man is the
hero,
I'm trying to say the person who flirts first, and for some reason I can't remember the word.
The instigator?
The instigator of the relationship are always perfect and happy and normal compared to all these other... I know that that's not what they're trying to say, obviously, right? And so it'd be cool if that reflected a little more on what we saw in the romances. And even if you're two, like, quote-unquote normal... two normal people in a heteronormative relationship, things can still, there can still be complications, things can still go wrong, and there's a story to it, there's the ups and downs that you have to go through. I think actually the closest they've gotten so far in Dragon Age is probably the Meryl romance.
Mm-hmm. You know what I would really like to see, though?
What's that?
Really, really like to see is... if you're playing as a straight male, I would love to see a female instigating the romance with you.
Yes.
Ooh,
I was hoping that hoping that was exactly what you were going to say.
That would be a nice change of pace because, you look around at dating norms right now and how many women get frowned on or shamed for taking that first step in a relationship, saying, hey, you know what?
Yep.
I think you're cute, or I find your intellect enticing, and I want to hear you speak more. How often do they get, oh, look at her, she's so... Give me a word here, a shaming word. I'm bad at shaming words.
Poopy face. Sorry.
Easy, thirsty.
Fast.
Thirsty. Yes.
Thirsty is one. Thirsty is definitely one that
Thirsty's
people
one?
use here.
Okay, see, I'm
Look
not...
how thirsty she is, trying to be all sexually aggressive with that doodle numero.
Yeah, how often does that happen? And there's actually an app out there from a woman who was involved in creating Tinder, where, okay, so you both swipe right or whatever, but in order for anything else to happen, the woman has 24 hours to respond. She's the one who gets to make that first step.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't even remember the name of it, but it was on The Daily Show a couple weeks ago, right when Trevor Noah first started. But, you know, it's things like that that hopefully will start shifting not just the paradigms in our dating culture here in the West, but maybe shift some paradigms in gaming romances too.
And it's not something that BioWare's never tried either, to some extent, because remember, there was a big hullabaloo with DA2 because Anders would flirt with you. Mm-hmm. And people were angry because, hey, people I'm not sexually attracted to are not allowed to be sexually attracted to me. So I really hope that hasn't scared them off the idea altogether, because Andrew, honestly, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And if BioWare is interested in trying to push social conversations like they have, for example, with Krem, or like they have with so many of their, like Iron Bull's relationship, I think really pushes to say something that a lot of people either don't want to hear or haven't heard about what is consensual and okay, because obviously of the heavy BDSM element of it that is portrayed in a very positive light. And so it's funny that something as simple as a woman who is not the player character initiating a romance by flirting has not been something that they've included so far.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I think where the backlash came with Anders was that it was straight male gamers getting flirted with by a guy.
Yep. That is exactly what it was.
Because any other instance, it's like, you know, ooh, Meryl's flirting with me. Ooh, look at the cute little elf with the Welsh accent. Ooh.
Yeah.
But you know, nobody got upset with that, because Meryl does kind of flirt with you, but a lot of that's just her social awkwardness too.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, I was lost in the Meryl. Where were we?
That's okay. You're allowed to get lost in Meryl.
Oh my.
Oh my.
But yeah, I mean, Meryl is I do think Meryl is the closest they've gotten so far to what we were talking about, just because, like, it does the first year skip after your relationship starts, and supposedly she's moved in, but she hasn't brought any of her stuff over. And she's spending all of her time at her house. And she's obsessed with this shiny glowy object. And actually, I think one of my favorite elements of DA2 was the fact that you had regular romances or rivalmances. Because it was different paths to the same... Well, not even the same thing necessarily, but to a similar thing. Like, it showed you that there was more than one way to have a relationship that could still be positive, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Apparently the rival romance with, is it Fenris or Anders? One of those two is really, really just bad from a oh, you're just being so evil to them kind of aspect.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one it was. I'd have to ask Belle. I'm pretty sure she was the one that did the rivalmance.
I mean, as a person with a tendency to date people who don't always agree with me on things and who actively, like, enjoys debating significant others when they also, like, actually want to debate, rivalmancing is cool and works and is a good thing. And I'm surprised that we don't see it in, like, more media.
Well, because that goes against regular dating conventions. Sure, opposites attract.
How dare
right?
we?
We hear that all the time, but, you know, God forbid a Democrat and a Republican get married, because that could never work out. Or, you know,
it's interesting
to
you say
turn
that
it into
too,
a
'cause
Canadian
the whole thing.
I would say to turn it into a
whole
Canadian thing. God forbid a Leafs and a Habs fan ever get together, because that will never work.
I like how the Canadian equivalent of political parties is hockey teams. But yeah, I mean, if you look at it, though, even when you have the opposites attract storylines, like, for example, my favorite example in all of media, Star Wars Episode 5, really the only opposite that they have is that they want to bone and are both angsty about it. It's not really opposites so much as it's just angst for the sake of angst.
She's a princess.
Like,
he's a smuggler.
Like, their arguments are usually about sexual tension more than they're about any actual, like, issues. And if they do have any differences, they're cleared up by the time of the relationship, or even more problematically, by the existence of the relationship.
Yeah.
And so I like that Dragon Age 2 acknowledged, hey, when two people who are very different start, like, screwing or whatever, they don't just magically stop being different by the power of phallus. Like, that's not the kind of magic that
There's no
sexual
magic
interactions
penises?
have.
The power of phallus.
I mean, technically speaking, we do know Anders can do that thing with the lightning, but that's a far more literal interpretation.
It's bit of a stretch, even for canon.
Bit of a stretch. I hear you can do that with blood magic.
Oh, we lost her. She's gone.
Go home. All right, we should wrap this up because we're going on an hour, probably. I don't know, with all those fuck-ups. It's probably like... Anyway, so final thoughts. Let's do some final thoughts really fast.
Are you going to kill us?
Yes!
That's just Niblet getting his 2 cents in.
Oh, thank you, Niblet, for adding to the conversation.
Final thoughts?
Final thoughts.
I don't know.
Something that's going on, something you just want to say, something words. I have something I just have to plug really fast.
All right, plug away.
So for any of you who are listening who are not like following me on Twitter to see me talking about this quite a bit today, I did write an article today as a guest contributor on for Can't Talk Media. You know that group of awesome people that we keep joking we're going to take down from the inside?
And also
I wrote
Andrew.
something for him. And I'll take down Andrew from the inside?
No. You said a group of awesome people, and I felt I had to add an also.
Oh, you're going to hurt his
Classes, they
feelings.
just keep
He's
slipping.
Canadian. You can't be mean to a Canadian.
I just don't know how to
kicking a
express my
grandma.
love, Baker. Let it happen.
But I contributed to their Mental Health Awareness Week by writing an article about how podcasting has helped me with my social anxiety. So if you would like, please go check it out, because if you were listening to this podcast, you were part of the solution. Unlike Tyler, who is actually part of the problem, perhaps, maybe.
No, I
not
am
at
the
all.
problem. I'm the
You
core.
are the
I'm the
problem.
source.
Your name is Tyler the Problem, last name.
I'm White
that's your actual
Cthulhu.
name. White Cthulhu. That's right. Okay, final thoughts, Tyler. Fire away. And if you don't have
Napoleon
final
Total
thoughts, you have
War
to
is
sing
a good
song.
game, and I'm... Oh.
What? Go ahead.
I was going to say Napoleon Total War is a very good game, and I'm glad I bought it, even if my buying of it kind of makes it like a sign of my weak-willedness when it comes to making video game purchases, because I started reading about Napoleon and was like, hey, I should get that, but no, because I don't want to spend the money, and now I have it, so, but it's fun, so get it.
Okay. All right, Andrew, final thoughts.
Final thoughts? Well, I saw The Martian on Friday and wrote a review for it on Can't Talk as well. But rather than plug the review itself, I'm just going to say it was one of the best stories, best acted, most diverse, and awesomest movie
really?
I have ever seen. Oh,
Good God.
absolutely.
Okay.
Oh my! I'll link you the review so that you can read it. But let me tell you right now, like this is, I never, ever give movies a perfect score. Never. Like,
Yeah.
I went back every review I've ever written. The closest that ever came, I gave a movie a 9 once, and I don't even remember why. Because I don't even remember the movie, which is horrible. Somebody else had to remind me. He's like, no, you gave a movie a 9 once. But this movie is diverse. The story is amazing. The cinematography is unreal. You know, it wasn't really on my radar for any other reason other than I liked the science of Mars and the idea of going to Mars and how to survive on Mars, because I like Mars and space. But, and, you know, Matt Damon saying his problematic things and Ridley Scott not making a good movie for almost 8 years kind of turned me, was making me lean. Oh my God, it was so good. So good. Like, it runs at 141 minutes, and you don't even realize that much time has passed. Unless you get a large drink before you go into the movie theater. By
And then
about
you
100
realize.
115 minutes, you realize, oh God, this movie's going to be longer than 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know, Andrew, I'm not sure I ever realized just how into films you were until just now. And now
Oh
I'm
God,
really
he's
sad
like
that
a
we
troll.
haven't talked even more than we already have.
Yeah. You guys need to be best friends.
I am a super double film buff.
He is, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Yeah, it was just pretty much the best movie I've ever seen. Like, it's I think the first movie I've reviewed this year that's passed the Blackdell Wallace test as well.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's not hard.
I need
All
to
you
see
need
this
is
movie.
all you need is two women to talk about something other than a man. How difficult is that to do, right?
It makes me really sad, actually, that so many people are going to not see this because Matt Damon said stupid things about diversity. Because apparently it's a movie with a very diverse cast who actually get to do something. So it's a shame
Right.
that that's going to be missed out upon, ironically, because the lead white dude star said some dumb things about diversity.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna butcher his
about
name,
right.
but Chiwetel.
I love him
Ejiofor.
so
He's
much.
He's the head of Manned Mars
Chiwetel
missions.
Ejiofor.
Thank you. He's the head of Manned Mars missions. Jessica Chastain's the mission commander. Donald Glover, who has no relation to what's his face from the Danny Glover from the Lethal Weapon movies. Was
Donald Glover is also Childish Gambino, the rapper.
Yeah, he was literally the smartest man at NASA, and nobody talked down to him or disregarded him or anything else. Mackenzie Davis figured out that his character, Watney, was alive and became the one responsible for tracking his movements. Benedict Wong was the head of JPL. You've got an ethnically and gender diverse cast where people are in positions of authority and not questioned one bit because of their skin color or their reproductive organs.
I'm sorry, you had me at Chiwetel Ejiofor. He is one of my absolute favorite actors, and he needs to be in everything forever.
You had me at the
He is my
ability to
pick.
pronounce that name. That's amazing.
He is my pick for the next James Bond. I want him so
Oh yes, I would actually
bad.
watch
He
a
is
James Bond
so
film then.
suave and fantastic.
Yeah.
And he just, even in movies where he's the bad guy, he gives off such like empathy and like just humanness. And I think that's something that James Bond has been really lacking lately.
Yeah.
Is a character that seems like a person.
Yeah.
In the way that he's portrayed.
Because as much as I love Idris Elba and I could have him speak to me forever and ever and ever,
Oh yes.
you're right. That would be a much smarter casting choice. But the other problem is he's wrapped up with Marvel movies now.
Yeah. As Baron Mordo, though, which is awesome.
Baron Mordo. What? Yes, Baron Mordo's Black Panther, right?
No.
Wasn't he?
Chiwetel Ejiofor is not in Black Panther.
I thought he was going to be Black
he's-
Panther.
Oh no, that's a different guy.
Oh, okay.
That's the guy from the baseball movie.
Oh, right. Yes, okay.
Yeah, that's the
thought
guy who
he-
played
'cause-
Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, because I thought he was.
Chiwetel Ejiofor is going to be Baron Mordo, the nemesis of Doctor Strange.
Okay, I thought he was a little old to be Black Panther. So that makes much more sense.
But yeah, although as a Marvel villain role, he's not quite as tied up with stuff.
Yeah.
So if he could be James Bond, that would be peachy and delicious.
Especially since white guy Daniel Craig.
Oh yeah, he just had his big meltdown today saying, I never want to do it again. It was dumb and it was bad and I hated it. And it's a stupid movie. And he literally said he would rather slit his wrists than play James Bond again.
Yep.
And that he was contracted to do another one, but meh.
Yeah.
And that if he did come back to the series, and I quote, he would only do it for the paycheck. So someone is actively trying to burn bridges in Hollywood right now.
Well, you know what? He's made his stake, and from what I've heard about Spectre already, it's not going to be good. I mean, really, they should have cut Daniel Craig off at Skyfall because that was just the best.
That was his Bond movie.
Yeah, I mean,
And even that was kind of wishy-washy in that it couldn't decide whether it wanted to be like the new, dark, gritty James Bond series that actually deals with the problematic aspects of the series, or like a throwback to the old movies. But that was about as good as we were going to get for this series of Bond movies.
yeah, and one of the things that I liked about it was that it was a combination of them both, because it gave you that fan service while at the same time staying loyal to what they had been creating. So there's my final thoughts. It went from The Martian to James
Good
Bond.
God, I know. It's like the longest final thoughts in the history of final thoughts on the dialogue wheel.
Oh.
God, you two.
But
you know what? But you know what, gentlemen? I ship it.
Yeah, you get us talking about things we're passionate about. It's a bad thing.
This is.
We are white men.
We could probably do an entire hour podcast on our love of movies.
I should bet.
Andrew, hold me.
I believe there's actually a hug going through a computer right now. This is, guys, can I not be in the middle?
I didn't hug back. I just leaned right into it.
Yeah, that's right.
Embrace
All
it,
right.
Tyler.
All right, we should call this one a done deal. It is done. It is done. Say goodnight, gentlemen.
Good night, gentlemen.
Good night, gentlemen.
God
for
damn
Christ's
it!
sake.
Really? Seriously?
Good night, listeners.
Fucking
We love
time.
you.
Children. We're just a bunch of children.
Every one of you. Good night.
Good night.
This podcast was brought to you by thedialoguewheel.com and Patreons like you. Follow us on Twitter at DialogueWheel, on the web at thedialoguewheel.com, or in traffic if you're creepy like that. Thanks for joining us.